Watch this. White is down a queen and both rooks. He has thrown away almost his entire army, and with 3 little pieces, checkmate. This is the Immortal Game, the most beautiful sacrifice ever played, and it is the last one on this list. Almost every unforgettable game in chess history was won by a sacrifice. You give away material on purpose, and if you calculated right, the opponent is already lost. But here's what keeps most players stuck. They cling to their pieces, they refuse the winning sacrifice, and they let one game slip away over and over, frozen at the same rating for years. The players who break through are the ones who know when to let go. So I'm ranking all 10, from the simple pawn sacrifice a beginner can play, all the way up to that immortal game. Learn to see these and you'll win games you used to lose. How many of them do you already know? Number 1. The pawn sacrifice. 600 elo. Every sacrifice in chess starts here. You give away a single pawn, not by accident, but on purpose to gain something worth more than a pawn: time. While your opponent spends a move grabbing it, you develop a piece, open a file, and get your attack rolling first. This is what every gambit is. The Italians were doing it 400 years ago. The one concept: trade a pawn for a head start. Number 2. The Greek gift. 1000 elo. Now the king comes out. Your opponent castles, feels safe, and forgets about one square. h7. Your bishop takes the pawn there with check. The king is forced to capture. Now your knight leaps to g5 with check, your queen swings to h5, and the attack crashes through a king with nowhere to hide. The one concept: sacrifice the bishop to rip the king's cover open. Number 3. The fried liver. 1200 elo. This one hurts. Your knight stabs straight into f7, the weakest square in the opening, the one only the king defends. The king is dragged out into the open, up the board, into a hail of your pieces, and it never makes it home. The one concept: give up the knight to pull the king into the storm. Here's your first challenge. Pause the video. White's bishop can take on h7 with check, the king must recapture, and a knight jumps to g5. Can you see the attack? Ready? Bishop takes h7, check, king takes bishop, knight to g5, check, and the queen is coming to h5 with mate on the way. That's the Greek gift in action. Number 4. Legall's mate. 1400 elo. Now it gets cheeky. Your knight is pinned to your queen. It looks illegal to move, so you move it anyway. Your opponent snatches your queen thinking they've won, and 3 minor pieces deliver checkmate. Sire de Legall played this in Paris in the 1750s, and beginners still fall for it every single day. The one concept: ignore the pin, sacrifice the queen for mate. Number 5. The exchange sacrifice. 1600 elo. Now it gets subtle. You give up a rook worth 5 for a bishop or knight worth 3. On paper, you're losing material. In reality, you've won the game because that little piece was the only thing holding the position together, and now it's gone. Tigran Petrosian, a world champion, gave up rooks like they were pawns, and almost nobody could beat him. The one concept: quality of pieces beats quantity. Number 6. The double bishop sacrifice. 1800 elo. Now it becomes art. Amsterdam, 1889. Emanuel Lasker took on h7 with one bishop, check. Then, one move later, he sacrificed his second bishop on g7. Both pawns in front of the king, gone. The king stood alone in an open field, and the queen and rook hunted it down. Players have copied this exact pattern for over 100 years. The one concept: tear off both pawns, and the king has no roof left. Number 7. The Smothered Mate. 2000 elo. The prettiest checkmate in all of chess, and it ends with a queen sacrifice. Your knight checks the king. The king hides in the corner behind its own rook. Then comes the killer. Your queen slams down right next to the king, and the rook is forced to capture it. Now that rook blocks the last escape square, your knight jumps back in, and its mate, the king, suffocated by its own army. Philidor showed this 250 years ago. The one concept: sacrifice the queen so the king chokes on its own pieces. Sacrifice territory. Everything above this line wins you the game slowly. Everything below it ends it in a single, unforgettable blow. 3 sacrifices left. Number 8. The Queen's Sacrifice. 2200 elo, the move. That makes an entire crowd gasp. New York, 1956. A 13-year-old boy named Bobby Fischer, playing black, quietly offered his queen to a master. His opponent took it. And then Fischer's bishops, knights and rooks swarmed the board, check after check, winning piece after piece until he had far more than the queen was ever worth. A 13-year-old calculated that. They still call it the game of the century. The one concept: give up the strongest piece for an avalanche nothing can stop. Second challenge. Pause here. Black's king and queen sit on the same diagonal, and you can sacrifice a bishop with check to fork them. What's the move? Ready? The bishop crashes in with check, the king must move, and your next piece takes the queen for free. A sacrifice that ends in profit. Number 9. Boden's Mate. 2,300 ELO. A master-level pattern most players never see coming. You have two bishops aiming at the enemy king from different diagonals, crisscrossing like scissors. You sacrifice to strip away the last defender, and the two bishops snap shut on the king from both sides at once. There is no escape from the crossfire. The one concept: two bishops on crossing diagonals are a pair of blades closing on the king, and now the deadliest of them all, the sacrifice that doesn't win a piece. It gives away everything. Number 10. The Immortal Game. 2,500 ELO. This is the one from the very start of the video. London, 1851. Adolf Anderson against Kieseritzky. Anderson gave up a bishop, then both of his rooks, then his queen. He threw away almost his entire army, keeping only 3 minor pieces. And with a bishop and 2 knights, he delivered checkmate to a king still surrounded by its own untouched pieces. It was so beautiful the world named it the Immortal Game, and we are still talking about it 170 years later. The one concept: when every piece is aimed at the enemy king, material means nothing, only mate. So one last challenge, the hardest. Pause the video. White can give a check that forces the black king onto a single dark square, where a bishop and knight are already waiting to mate. What's the first move? Ready? The queen sacrifices with check, the king is dragged onto the killing square, and the minor pieces finish it. If you saw that, you're reading the board like a master, so there it is. Every essential chess sacrifice, ranked from the simple pawn you can give up tonight, all the way to the Immortal Game. 10 sacrifices that turned ordinary players into legends. And here's the truth about all of them. They look like genius, like something only a master could see, but every single one is built on one idea. Material is just a tool, and the king is the only thing that matters. So tell me, how many of these 10 did you already know? Be honest, drop the number in the comments and tell me the boldest sacrifice you've ever played. If this changed the way you see the board, subscribe, because every video on this channel is built to push you one rank higher. Now, go sacrifice something.